Today we're taking a look at Avalanche's Avax coin, performing some technical analysis and making some predictions on where we can expect to see Avax go in the near future. Let's get into it. Welcome back into Avalanche's Avax coin chart, guys. If you'd like to buy Avax or want some free Bitcoin, there are a couple of links down in the description of today's video. And unfortunately, our technical analysis has been thrown into a bit of disarray as Bitcoin did drop in price significantly. And you can see we were hoping we would be able to test, of course, our 20-day moving average over here and break through it. Whilst yes, the test certainly did occur, we were unfortunately unable to break through it, and that's largely, in my opinion, due to the fact that Bitcoin dropping resulted in every other crypto dropping as well, which basically throws everything out the window. Unfortunately, now we have dropped down to a low, and that low was 72.72. We are now though currently sitting at 76.24, so we have recovered slightly. But unfortunately we did jump out of our channel, so I'm going to remove the channel lines there. Also, what I first picked up on when I looked back at this chart was now the 20-day moving average is moving very quickly towards, of course, our 50-day moving average. And we've also got a 200-day moving average, that little yellow line there starting to appear on the chart. So what we're likely about to see is, unfortunately, that 20-day moving average is going to cross below the 200-day moving average and then below the 50-day. So for reference, that 20 days at 85, the 200's at 84, and the 50 is at 82. So we got quite a few moving averages here, and it's not looking the best at the moment. Unfortunately, given the fact we dropped below our key point of horizontal support over here at about $83 to $84, that means things aren't looking the best. Now, I will say there is something I did notice which is probably a bit more of a positive, and it wasn't a trend we could have put in place previously, but given the current state of the price action we're seeing, this is a possibility. Now, what am I going to put in place? Well, I'm going to put in place basically this nice little trend here. And this is an uptrend from the very bottom, and the reason we didn't put this in place previously was due to the fact that we couldn't form that with the existing price action that has occurred. Now that we've had a few more weeks of trading, this is something which looks a bit more established to us. So I'm just going to shift that one down there, and you can see basically we touch on the little end point here of our all-time low over there, and we have bounced off this point previously back in the middle of March over here, and that was basically at a value of 66. And then we have just bounced off it once again over here on the 11th of April, and on that day the low was that 72, and we're moving sort of towards that point again and looking like it could be about time for some price action to occur. I'm sensing a bit of tightness in the price action here. A bit of a triangle pattern is forming itself, or a wedge if you rather. And you can see that is being basically driven by this consolidation that's occurred, and it's moving in the right direction still from a long-term trend perspective, but it is at a critical point where if this trend fails, we are going to keep moving downwards. Interestingly enough, with these dips that we are starting to see, the volume hasn't spiked, which is good. We didn't want to see large sell-offs because that would show people are not confident in Avax. Instead, what we're seeing is a decline in the volume as the value of the coin declines, and that means basically people aren't selling out. It's just people are wary of buying until they can clearly see that, you know, we've hit a bottom and we're going to start uptrending. So what I'm expecting to see now is we're at this tight point. Within the next 24 hours, we are A, going to see a spike in volume, and B, I'm ideally hoping, given the fact that we're moving in an upwards direction, we're going to see a breakout occur. So it's going to be something like this, and hopefully a break in this direction. Now, how high that goes, I think it's going to be hard to tell, given the fact that we got so much resistance at this point over here. I'm going to extend out this $83, $84 mark over here. And what that will basically show us is the fact that we are, you know, at a point where there is so much from a moving average perspective as well as a price action perspective that we'll need to get through in order to make the next solid move in an upwards direction. Let's take a look at a few more indicators as well. Hopefully they'll bring us a bit more insight onto what we can expect. The RSI. Now the RSI has dropped. When we were peaking, we were at a peak of 66.61, not in the overbought range, but then we continued to drop. We got to a low on the RSI of 36.83, and now we're currently sitting at 41.25. So if we were to break out here, then we would have plenty of room to move in an upwards direction. So that is certainly a positive from that perspective. MACD wise, looking at that, the MACD obviously did cross, and then with the Bitcoin dump, it just really drove that in a downwards direction. Now, of course, we are seeing the peak has occurred of this red period and things are starting to shallow out. With a breakout here, I'd expect to see the 12-day EMA cross back above the 26-day EMA and start moving us in the right direction. I think based on this factor alone, as well as I suppose supported by these factors as well, when we see that cross of the MACD, that is a major signal for us to see a reversal in the short-term price trend. So I'm thinking we're going to see a few positive days ahead, that is for sure. It's also worth noting, of course, with an uptrend like we're seeing here, we are getting higher lows every time we do receive a low. So that is another positive. It's showing we are moving upwards and there isn't too much to actually panic about. What's my price prediction for today's video? Well, if we're going to break out of this little triangle and consolidation pattern we've seen and keep moving in an upwards direction, first price target I'd immediately go is that 83 mark, which is our horizontal point of resistance. Then of course I think a stretch target could be to break through that and potentially break through the $85 mark as well, which is where our moving averages are first. But I really think 83 should be the priority at this point in time. That wraps up today's analysis of Avalanche's Avax coin, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Of course, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this sort of content, hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. I'll leave it there for today, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.